Anywho, Bonnie, tell us more. Keep going with your story because I really want to know more about you. You seem like our kind of people, to be honest. Yeah, 100%.
Well, that's 100%. Good to know because usually I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
That's why I hit friend. A good thing. That's why I hit follow.
That's a good thing. It really is.
Yeah, I guess it's a good thing. I'm really not sure where I left off. We started going off somewhere else.
We did. But where I stopped, not necessarily listening, but it was you were transitioning from the Valley to here. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was transitioning from the Valley to.
Well, tell us who you are real quick.
So
you have that clip at least.
Okay. Well, I'm Bonnie Garza.
There you go.
I'm a realtor here in San Antonio. I've been a realtor this will be my 7th year in the industry. I primarily work with first-time home buyers.
Love it.
I love it so much.
Same.
There's a story behind that as well, but that could be for another day because it's pretty long.
Or not. Just shorten it up.
I do a lot of work with veteran clients as well, since we are the military city. I'm well versed in that, so
nice.
It's pretty much the short version.
Okay. So you came from the Valley, predominantly not Brownsville, right?
Yes, Brownsville.
Okay.
Exactly.
The exact place.
Shout out Brownsville. My peeps.
Yeah. What did they call
the
it?
956? The RGV?
Puro 956.
There it is. And when you came to San Antonio, what was that like? I know you had not yet met your wife now.
No.
Right? Okay, so let's talk about the transition. Crazy exes and all that. I'm kidding.
No. Oh, you're about to get me in trouble as soon as she sees it.
We'll clip it all out. But not
well,
that part.
I moved over here in 2013.
Okay.
I took a job as a manager at Luby's because it was a better opportunity from where I was at before. Was there for about 4 years. Didn't really, I think I got what I was supposed to get out of it. And my younger brother actually got into real estate, and he was telling me, hey, I'm getting out of the service industry too. You should really jump on this opportunity, become an agent. And I pushed it aside for a long time until I didn't. And when I finally made the transition into real estate, I will say like my first 4 months of training I spent in the Valley with him.
Okay.
It was a great training. He's a really good coach, really good leader. He has a lot of good systems in place. So I trained there for about 3 months. I got maybe like 4 or 5 sales under my belt, which was super amazing for being, 3 or 4 months down there. But then when I came over here, as I was telling you guys, man, my whole world just turned upside down. The market is so different. Like down there, as I mentioned, I helped somebody get a brand new house for like $128,000. Mind you, this was a few years back, right? When I just started.
But even still, I agree with your point. In addition to the price tag, there's a lot of mom and pop builders down there as well.
Yes.
There's no DR Horton track homes. Nothing. Everybody has their own builder. Buy the land, build it from the ground up.
Yeah, for sure. And I will tell you that on that particular client, that was not a walk in the park. It was my first like new construction. There was like so many ins and outs of it and it wasn't completed yet. So we were still in the process. So it was a tough one. Like I had to get help from him. I had to get help from a couple other people as far as like the legal aspects and stuff like that. Thank goodness one of my uncles down there is a real estate attorney. So he always is there when I have those questions, of course. But yeah, just, after closing that and coming over here, I already had, a couple of clients in my pipeline for when I came back. But just the difference, like the first client that I had here was like $150,000 home that was built like in the 1960s. So I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be tough. Like it's going to be a totally different game up here. And maybe it was my mistake. Maybe I should have stayed a little bit longer to get a little more knowledge and a little more experience just in general. And then when I come over here, then it would be on me to learn the market and to figure out what the difference is.
Yeah. I mean, but then you've got hindsight is 2020 in the sense that you could stay there longer and not really learn very much more.
That's true.
Because there's fewer, lower volume, all of those things. Whereas San Antonio, you were thrown into the fire quickly.
Yes.
It's like you got to learn or die type concept.
Sink or swim for sure.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I came over here, I continued to stay with the same brokerage. It was a small, I guess, what do they call it? Like a boutique brokerage or whatever. Yeah. So my broker was available for me. He was a phone call away whenever I had any questions. But we didn't have an office. I was working from home, or as I mentioned, from like Starbucks or anywhere that I could work, basically, right? I was having consultations at Starbucks, at Revolucion, and just places where there's coffee or little munchies, and it wasn't so loud, and it could still be a little professional, but not so businessy, so people didn't really feel overwhelmed. And it was a struggle. It was a struggle to be a solo agent. At that time, I want to say I was embarrassed to ask for help because as we were talking about before, I'm my biggest critic.
Yeah.
And for me to reach out to ask somebody for help takes a lot. Like I really, really, really need help. If I'm calling you, or if I'm, asking you for a favor, then I'm already out of ideas. So
that's actually a great quality to have if you're a mentor and you have an employee like that, or somebody that is following in your footsteps, because you only know what you know. And if they don't help communicate that bridge, how do you know what to give them? I mean, you give it all to them. Well, they don't necessarily grasp it all right then and there. So it's better that you ask the questions when those things come up. Because they're all situational. You're not going to get the same instance many times in real estate. They're all going to be different.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Every client's needs are different. Every situation is different. You might think that everything's going fantastic, and then one day you wake up to a text where you're like, oh my gosh. And then you just start to have like a million mini heart attacks until you actually get to closing. So I will say it is a different situation.
So once you jumped into San Antonio, now having, no regrets. It is what it is. We're here now.
Yes.
What year was that into your path?
Let's see. So I started in 2017, I think like in October. I stayed there October, November. I know I spent New Year's there. I think I came back in February of 2018.
So it wasn't even a full year yet?
No.
Okay.
It was not a full year. I started way at the end. And of course, if you're in the industry, sometimes, depending on your business volume, right? Towards the end of the year, it gets slow. So of course, for me to close those amount of deals, I was like, wow. That's hustling. That's pretty good. And I was all up here. And then when it came down here, I had to come back down to reality.
Down here, man.
Yeah. Like I had to start all over again, basically. And then I didn't really know too many people. And in this industry, I think working your sphere of influence is something that people start out doing at first.
Yeah.
Because of course you don't have
That's all you know.
Yeah. You don't have the big bucks to start putting it towards marketing or whatever. Nobody really knows who you are because you're new to the industry.
Yep.
And I didn't have a really big one. Like I said, I was working 12 to 13 hours a day at Luby's.
I could make a joke there, but I
won't. Yeah, I didn't really know too many people, so I kind of struggled a little bit, and with not having somebody there by my side to kind of show me, hey, this is how you do this is how you do that.
And were you with the same brokerage when you made the transition?
Yes. He actually became a part of the San Antonio Board of Realtors specifically so I could be.
Very cool.
So that's why I stayed with him for so long, because he, gave me the opportunity to work it out on my own.
Right.
And, make a little money for him, and of course make a little money for myself. So I have all the respect in the world for him, because he could have ditched me like after that first year.
Absolutely.
I don't think I sold too much. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he could have been like, you know what, girl, maybe this brokerage ain't for you. So
not enough reward, too much liability.
Yeah. Sure. So I have a lot of respect for him in that aspect. So my hat's off to him, Mike, if you're watching.
So once you did get your feet wet into the San Antonio market and you went through your sphere of influence, because I'm a firm believer that if you only do business with your friends, you're going to end up broke.
Very true. Considering I didn't have any.
Right. So it rings home.
Yeah.
That being the case, what did you utilize to jump into the business? I mean, how the hell do you let as many people know as possible what you do for a living and that you're willing to do it with them?
In the very beginning, I did all the basic stuff. I did door knocking, which I really hated because it was just so awkward.
Sure.
Knock on someone's door and they might come out in like their pajamas or something.
And they're like, "Where's your Bible?"
Yeah, what the hell do you want?
No, I'm selling real estate.
Yeah, so I did that for a minute. I did open houses. Open houses were my thing for a long time. I mean, they're free. I didn't have any listings, but of course, if a listing's been sitting on the market for like 30 some days and you want to have an open house, nobody's going to have a problem with that.
Not at all.
So I did a lot of open houses. Slowly, I started to transition into social media. I saw all the content that was being put out, and it was a lot of like, home tours and things of that nature. And I started thinking, okay, well, that's cool, right? But I don't want to do that. Like, I want to do something different. And my brother had actually started making content as well, and he was doing educational stuff.
Love it.
And I was like, you know what? That's boring, but it's what people need to hear. Like
100%.
Like, I'm going to show you this, $1 million house, but how the hell are you going to get it? Like,
Correct.
do you know, like, what does your credit score have to be? How much money do you have to have? What's a down payment? Stuff like that.
I freaking love that. I mean, truly, and a big reason that I love it is all this stuff behind me that you see. Review My Mortgage, it's somewhere on here. LoanBot, all of that is educational. My partner and I spent the last 4.5, almost 5 years building this technology for consumers directly. Now, mind you, it helps us on the back end because it connects us with buyers we never would have connected with otherwise.
Correct.
And now we've got a tool separately that we can provide to them that truly helps educate them. This has all the loan programs that we as a company offer. When they put in their information without pulling credit, they can see their options, literally what the guidelines are, and a layman, save them, compare them, all that jazz. So this just launched 2 weeks ago. LoanBot launched with the beta program. But what you're saying rings so true and is so necessary for today's market. It's ridiculous. And
I agree.
I think the leaders that continue to jump out there to educate, to provide that content that's necessary. Like you said, yes, it's boring to the people that aren't interested in hearing that. But if you are interested in hearing that, they're going to stumble upon your content and love exactly what they came there for. Exactly. Does that make sense? It's like you almost find your tribe and the people that you're looking for.
Exactly.
What is the saying? When you're looking for fish, go fish in the pond that has the fish, right? I mean, at the end of the day,
that would only make sense.
So dip your rod in your spheres that you think are going to amount up to business later down the road or instantly. And that's what you're doing. That's pretty smart.
Yeah, definitely. And basically, I mean, the content that I put out is just questions that people ask me.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm not reinventing the wheel on what I'm going to do. It's just like, and the reason I like doing it is because a lot of people don't know that maybe they are able to buy a house. Maybe
it's
make
way
enough to
more
buy a
than
house.
we think. I mean, you've got, I think it's, I want to say, we just talked about it on the DPA episode when John brought up a ton of stats, and he's great at that stuff, but it was a daunting number on the people that believe you still need 20% down to buy. Like, I thought we beat that horse already.
No, I get asked that a lot too. They're
crazy.
Like, do I need to have like $50,000? I'm like, why? Are you going to buy a really expensive house, or what do you want to do?
Correct.
And I think renting is the only option because their family is doing it. Their brother and sister, their parents have always rented. They don't know because they hear these myths. Well, I have to have X amount down. I'm not going to qualify.
And you're righter than you even can believe. You're a writer. You're a writer.
Who learned you to spoke.
Thank you. The concept behind what you're saying is a generational curse or a generational trend, or you can call it what you want, but it is something just like everything else. And I will relate it back to politics, religion, anything else. You are the company that you end up keeping. Right? So if you've always known to be this way, that's what it is for you until you get outside of your bubble, you experience, and then you deal with that experience. And then you go, okay, I'm going to make up my mind for myself and I'm going to go this route.
But that's why the education is so important. And whether you're a loan officer or a realtor, how you always say, be the expert.
Be the expert.
Change that generational.
Don't redo it.
Change that generational mindset as, oh, mom, my family rents. Whereas they never even made that first step to
because they were scared.
They're afraid to hear no. Well, that no eventually is going to become a yes when you're with the right team.
Yeah. And some people are afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
Very.
That's what it is. They're embarrassed. Or-
Ashamed. You got it. Yep.
Some people don't want you to know that their credit is bad. Some people don't want you to know that they only have, $100 in the bank and this is their dream. But I mean, that doesn't matter because people are not everybody is automatically ready to buy a house right now.
Right.
And that is the whole point of like putting out educational content. It's like, okay, you need to do this in order to get this.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
and you would not know otherwise unless you speak to the professional. You can self-diagnose all you want, but you still don't have the power and the education. And I'm not saying smarts education. I'm talking about mortgage education, real estate education to be able to make those decisions for yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Get those options first, then go ahead and make your decision. But,
and like how you're right, show them they can, because like some people they don't want you to know that, like you said, they may only have $100 in account, what their credit score is. But on the other side, once they finally take that step and listen and get on a credit plan, they start to realize, wait a minute, if I clean up some of my spending habits, follow their lead to clean some stuff on credit, it can happen, and watch their life change because a few months down the road, as they're working on the credit, they're like, wow, by me being conscious and seeing the goal that I actually can become a homeowner, I actually have a little more money in my account.
Yep.
I'm not wasteful spending, opening a card because I can't. You see the mission, and it just took that one step of, all right, let me talk to a loan officer, a realtor. Here's the pathway. Now we can't lead a horse to water to make him. We can lead him, but can't make him drink.
You can't hold that horse's head down.
The ones
you've ever tried.
The ones that do drink, they see it and they're fired up.
They gorge.
Yep, they're fired up, and it's they start changing their lives on their way to get to that house.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. So Bonnie, you mentioned something before that I picked up on and honed in on because and JC, our team works with a lot of first-time home buyers. I believe that you can't have a healthy real estate market without enough first-time home buyers continuing to move that needle, educate the next generation, build the wealth, throw their hat in the ring, whatever you want to call it. But have you considered, and I'm skipping ahead quite a bit, but have you considered doing educational classes in addition to the content you're doing?
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have like the correct, I don't know, maybe like the correct outline.
Okay.
And I know there's no like correct outline or whatever, but I want to make sure that if I'm presenting something, I want to have it lined out perfectly where I'm not like, bouncing around different topics and stuff like that.
What if I were to challenge you / invite you to do some joint classes? I mean, I'm all about education. I'm not the kind of person that tells you anything that's incorrect. If I don't know, I'll say I don't know. But let me find out.
Definitely.
But if I do know, I'm pretty passionate about what I do know. And one of my goals in 2024 is to do more classes. Thus far, I think you're pretty freaking fun. I think you can take a joke. Because I tested that theory earlier today. That's all I was doing. It's like, okay, how's the audience today?
Hey, I was actually voted wittiest in my class senior year. So
busted her wit right out.
Let me tell you a fun fact. They took pictures of us and my shirt said, I kick ass.
I love it. I love it. I normally wear a shirt that says suit suck.
There's another one that you had that we kind of had to cover up a little bit.
I got it in Vegas. It says something FUCK.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I have a hat that says sexy Mexican.
Babe, what does my shirt say? That's black. Anyway. What does it say?
What was it?
It's in a big square.
F something. Was it F suits?
Something stay classy. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, I'd love to actually do some educational classes with you. The idea is we're not putting them on for other realtors. We're putting it on for consumers directly. So Lubies, for example, if you still got any connections there, let's find out when their employee meetings are and put on a presentation to show them how home ownership is possible.
Yeah.
Babe, what was that shirt? What is my favorite shirt? The black one. What does it say? Thank you.
That's it.
Classy ass.
Classy ass. Bleep.
Classy as fuck. But it's like not bleeped out or anything. It just says it flat out.
I remember that. But move the camera a little up.
Yeah. But I would love to be that to be one of the first things that we attack, because you'll find that, and you've been in the business 7 years. This meeting with lenders is not a new thing to you, guaranteed. But I can tell you that most lenders lead with the same BS. We can help you. We're going to be a resource for you. We're going to help you market if you need us to partner, open houses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That wasn't like that when I slid in your DM, right?
No. I will.
Okay.
I will add something.
You were such a gentleman.
Yeah, I was like, well,
Even offered to buy me dinner.
Not yet.
Dang.
I got this coffee though, and he made it for me. It's
Very good. Yes, that's gourmet.
I will say there are some lenders that I've worked with that have gone above and beyond.
Good.
Before we start
Yeah.
getting into that. So, but I do like to work with a lot of different people. I like to see, I know different lenders, different title companies, different inspectors. They offer different things for different folks, different strokes.
I have to say that they offer the same thing different ways.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we've all got the same tools. We all use the same investors for our rates. We all have the same guidelines. The tech tools, the systems, they're all the same, but who figured out how to leverage them? Who figured out how to streamline them faster? Who figured out how to sell it this way versus that way? Who actually is in the trenches doing business to be able to practice what they preach? And those are the lenders that are rising to the top. Those are the agents that are rising to the top. We're in a market right now to where the renewal rate is like at 60%. So they're all dropping out. And I'm going, fuck yeah, it's about time,
Adios, Feliciano.
because what we're end up doing is promoting half-ass service to our customers. Honestly, if you're a part-time realtor, how the hell can you be the best for your customer if when they need you, you're punching a clock?
That's true.
Doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm the voice on the soapbox that, I'll be honest, if you're a part-time agent, which I know you're not, I'm going to end up doing your job through the process, to be honest, to keep this deal together, because I want it to close as bad as you do. It's just, you may not have the expertise yet to do this. Why? Because you haven't done enough transactions to get through those things. Kind of like you were saying in the beginning,
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. But there are some part-time agents that do bust their ass, I will say.
Don't disagree with you. But does that amount to the same level of expertise, knowledge, advocacy, all the things that, let's say, you have gained being full-time? There's no way it can amount to the same.
Yeah, there's no comparison.
There isn't. Yeah, the learning curve on that, you grow through what you go through.
That's true.
Very true in real estate, because every situation is different. I just had one yesterday. Appraisal came back low. There was missing a heating source. The realtor had no clue and never had done that before, so I had to walk her through that concept. She got it. She appreciated that I explained to her and I didn't chastise her for it.
Yeah.
We've got a mutual customer. But I promise you, this is going to be something that you put away in your memory bank for the next time you go through an inspection and go, wait a minute, there's no heating source here.
Yeah.
Definitely
right? Something that
like, hey, did you not notice this before we ordered the appraisal?
Yeah, that happens a lot. I've been through some crazy situations that you wouldn't even believe.
I would. I would.
Like you said, no deal, no deal, no loan is the same.
Yeah.
And like everyone, like you said, now.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time we're doing something, I make a note. All the notes I have for each different loan we've done, none are the same.
None are the same.
None is equal.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say that now I'm almost an expert at affidavit of heirship situations. Something I learned in the last couple of years is those can be tough, especially
if they don't have their stuff together.
Yeah.
It makes it even worse.
Yes.
And that's half the battle. No, you are correct.
But I'm glad that I went through it, and I'm glad that I had a title escrow officer
help you walk through.
Me. And man, she went to war for
Who
me
was
on
it?
That one. It was Ann Martinez over at Stewart Title.
Stewart Title. Okay. Yeah.
She really nailed that one down for me, and I'm so thankful
That's
that
awesome.
I was working with her because if not, I think somebody else would have gave up on me.
Sure.
We were working that deal for. I think we had one contract fell through, and then we went to another one. So it was probably almost a year. It was crazy.
Well, I love who you are already. I like your work ethic. There's no doubt about it matching what you're saying, because you wouldn't be able to say the things with confidence that you do without it being true.
True.
I mean, I've learned that about a lot of people in not just my years in mortgage, but sales, in everything. And it's a people business. I mean,
I'm actually a terrible liar. So.
Yeah, same here.
My face starts to do weird stuff. Sometimes my wife's like, "Why is your eye?
Why are you
shaking?"
twitching?
It's like, I don't know.
That's awesome.
I get that look from my wife. She's like, she gets that look and just the eyes like, I don't believe it.
That's
What
all
do you
it takes.
say?
That's all it takes.
I'll
Yeah.
go do dishes.
I'll go brush my teeth.
I'll go do the laundry.
That's funny. Well, Bonnie, what do you look for in the next phase of your career? I mean, truly, because like I mentioned before, I don't like being like everybody else. I already know I'm not like everybody else. So that being the case, I do things different. JC does things, we do things differently.
Yeah.
And it's tended to work for us thus far. But when we meet with a new realtor, it's a lot of listening. Why? Because if we come out and start pulling tools out of the tool belt to give to you, you're like, well, how do I use it? What is it? How do I know if that's what I need for my business at the
Am I
next
being
phase?
sold or something? Or?
I know.
Yeah. So what does that look like? What are you looking for? And you can be super honest with us.
You know, to be honest, I actually don't know. I'm always, I set goals for myself, but I think as long as I'm doing better than I was last year or better than I was a month ago
or a day ago, hell yeah.
That's always a win for me. Like I just want to keep doing what I'm doing, trying to stand out. I don't have 10,000, 15,000 followers on social media, but honestly, I don't care.
Same.
Because are all of those 10,000 clients, really getting value from what I'm putting out? Are they really gonna, want to work with me, or is it just because they like my funny videos, which is awesome? I mean, if you like my funny videos, that's cool.
Correct.
That's a super big ego boost for me as well, because I love to be funny.
Yeah.
Like if you get to know me a lot more, I am rarely serious. It's a good trait and a bad trait, right?
Yes and no. I don't see a bad in that, only because humor is the one thing that our society has been accepting of for many, many years. And recently it hasn't been as accepting, but it's coming back because we're realizing that we are human. It's necessary. It's just a joke. Stop being so serious all the time. Yeah. We're already going through something very serious in itself, which is the mortgage process, buying a home, finding the home. That's incredibly, what is the word I'm looking for? Nerve-wracking. I mean, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Anxiety runs wild, all those things. So you've got to be the person that is able to relate to the person, because if you can't relate to somebody, they're not going to find you funny at all.
No,
you've got to relate to them first to find what their funny is, to be able to give that sense of humor.
Well, everybody thinks I'm funny. So
boom.
I'm just kidding.
Boom. Zoom in on that. I love it.
I'm joking. No, but I totally get you. I know buying a home is serious. And I've had some people tell me, why do you post so much funny stuff and stuff like that? Because why can't it be lighthearted? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Why can't I share something informational with you and make you laugh at the same time?
And the other thing, you noticed it. Do you notice the other people that are just doing standard, not to be mean, but boring content?
Right.
No, they don't remember those.
Yeah.
And you're selling your personality.
Yeah, definitely.
So I used social media, and if you've ever seen the podcast, I talk about this, but I used social media in real estate before a lot of people did. 2012 was when I started posting the closing pictures. And then my social media didn't consist of anybody looking to buy a home. It was all friends from high school, people I had acquainted with in college, and da-da-da-da-da-da. So I would get a lot of no views, no likes, and why do you keep posting this shit? And after a while of being consistent, it started working. And then I was able to say, hey, this content, it's not for you. If you don't like it, don't follow me anymore. It is what it is. I'm now able to use this to generate income for me and my family. So if you want to throw a stick in my spokes, you're gonna have to do it from way back there, because I'm moving. The train's moving.
Yeah, for
type
sure.
concept. So keep going, keep doing what you're doing. I think that the more the better, especially the realer the better, because then you actually relate to the people, or the people that you want to relate with to do business are going to find you. You've got to know or trust the person that you do business with. At least they're going to like you right away.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I'm hoping so.
I mean, 100% of the time it works. 60% or
whatever I put out, like I told you guys, like this is me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do I own nicer clothes? Yes. Do I want to wear them? No. And that's mainly because since as long as I can remember, I've had to wear a uniform to my job. And now this is my career. I'm my boss. And I think the way I carry myself and the way I present myself, I could be sitting here in basketball shorts if I wanted to, and maybe this would have gone a different way, but I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
So, I mean, to me, yes, appearance is everything. I know when it's appropriate, when I have to, and when I don't.
Absolutely.
And working with first-time home buyers, I feel like I want to be relatable to them. I don't want to show up in my, I don't have one, right? But in my $600 Armani suit. They're not even $600, right? They're really expensive.
I have no idea.
Well, I don't own one, so I don't know. If somebody knows, let me know.
Right.
But yeah, like I don't want them to feel intimidated by me.
Yeah.
So I'll go, maybe in like some khakis, my shoes. I'm a sneakerhead also, as you mentioned earlier. Your family members are sneakerheads. And maybe, a button up or whatever, sleeves rolled up. Real cool, real chill, because I want them to feel comfortable.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Unless I'm going to go show a $3 million mansion and I'm going to go dress to the nines. I'm going to go buy that suit.
I'll even say, even still, know your customer first.
Yes.
Because if it is a tech dude that you're showing a $3 million house to, you may stay exactly how you are, and they would accept that and appreciate that because it's not a facade.
Yeah.
I realized that years ago. It was almost right before COVID-ish. But even still, back when I met you, I wasn't suited up, anything like that. I was me. And I ended up doing a lot of business with people that relate to me.
Yes, definitely.
Come to find out, I relate to 90% of the public. Weird. We're all normal.
Some of us are.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And knowing your client also is super huge. And that's not to say, all the people that get dressed up, that's cool. If that's you, then do you. You know what I mean? But that's just not me. And I've had several people tell me, why don't you get more dressed up? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? It's like, well, why don't you
mind your goddamn business? That's right.
Why don't you
That's right.
So
fuck all the way off.
I like you,
for
but
lack of a better word, like you said, it works for you and it works for me, and that's all there is to it. I want people to work with me not based on what I'm wearing or what I look like or what I drive. I pulled up today in my 2013 Ford Fusion, one headlight out, still got to get it fixed.
Yeah.
And
no big deal. Guess what? Had you not said that, I wouldn't have known, nor would I have asked. I don't care, because
I don't care
you're
either.
you.
That's why it's still broken.
You're you.
So, but yeah, I mean, the way I see it is like my outfit's not going to help you get a better deal. My outfit's not going to help your house sell in 3 days. You know what I mean?
Nope.
So it's all about what I can offer you and what value I can bring you.
Yeah.
And I think after even the people that message me online because I'm so funny or whatever, and I end up meeting up with them, they're like, wow, you actually do know what the hell you're talking about. It's like, yes, I do. You know what I mean? Like, just because I'm funny doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, that's a good point that you make there, because I talk about social media and I give classes on social media. I talk to my loan officers about it, and I tell them, you've got to be as transparent as possible. You've got to be very consistent. But I don't care how many social media posts you put out. It does not matter. If you are not boots on the ground at the same time, you will find that your social media group will be a facade. You won't get any business from it. And you'll probably end up stopping doing that because you think that it doesn't work. And that is false. It does work, but you have to have boots on the ground simultaneously so that you're basically practicing what you preach.
That's true.
Yeah. And I believe you do that.
That's true. I was actually listening to a podcast this morning. I think it's a Massive Agent podcast. He was talking about the thing of if
his has grown pretty quickly. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I really like it. I listen to it every so often. I kind of alternate. But he said that everybody goes by the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then he dives a little bit deeper into it because he's like, okay,
I hope he didn't take my saying. Keep going. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
He wanted to touch on it a little bit more and say, like, it's like if you're doing good, why can't you do great?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if it's broken, is it because, if you're considering it broken, is it because it's underperforming or because it's just not working? Like, if it is working, why can't you make it work 3 times better and make it great?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like it.
So,
and it's not what my saying is. Good.
What's your
goodness.
saying?
So my saying is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it does break, build it better the next time.
Oh, nice.
Why?
Like,
because, well, it lasted that long, so something was right. But now that it's broken, kind of like our financial system in the US, it's broken. Time to fix it, but make it better.
yeah, definitely.
This is your opportunity to dissect what it was that you were doing that was working, pull the things out that weren't, and inject things that you now need to try to see if they work. Test it, ABC test it, and then now that's your new process or your new routine or whatever it is that you do to make you successful in this industry, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of another saying, how everybody says, if at first you don't succeed, try again.
Mhm.
I heard one that said, if at first you don't succeed, find out why.
Absolutely.
And then try again. Because if you're doing the same thing, isn't that like the definition of insanity?
Insanity.
That's
Doing the same thing
no,
over
psychopath
and over.
is the one where if you fall asleep with your jeans on. Yeah.
Is that so?
Never trust anybody that falls asleep with jeans on.
Or with
Yeah.
socks on.
That, well,
I
I
did
don't
that on
know.
the couch the other
Depends
day.
how cold it is.
I fell asleep in my jeans the other day.
Fucking psychopath.
Well, oh,
How do you do that?
became a loan officer. It's psycho
There you
enough.
go. Touche. Yeah.
Dude.
I'm a loan officer and I have kids.
Yeah.
Touche. So any kids?
No,
Okay.
all I have is my little teddy boy. He's a little poodle.
Okay. Very cool.
He's a little vicious guy, but he's so cute.
I love it. Now back to the question that you were like, whoop, whoop, whoop. What are you looking for 2024? There's got to be something that is missing or something that you'd like to see added. What would make you better in 2024? I don't know if we can provide it or not, but I'd like to know.
More clients. No, I'm just kidding.
That's one thing we can help you with.
No, I think I honestly, we started an accountability group in our organization over at New Era, and I think I need to get back to the basics. Last year, I want to say was a rough year, not just for myself. I did okay. Could I have done better? Yes.
Mhm.
I'm sure it was a rough year for a lot of people, as you mentioned.
Yep.
A lot of people are going to be getting out of the industry and not renewing, in March or whenever the
Right.
dues are due. I'm not even sure, but I want to get back to that. I want to just keep it simple.
Yes.
Like I said before, like we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Everything. People. There are so many different programs and so many different coaches and outlines of what to do. All you have to do is like pick and choose the nuggets
Yes.
that you want from there.
Pick them up.
And put something
attempt
together
them.
for yourself.
That's right.
And
And
just-
adopt them.
Yes, and be consistent. So
Amen.
that's exactly what I need to work on, because I'm so glad I'm a part of this accountability group, because I myself slack on myself so much, and that makes me upset because of what we talked about earlier, how I'm my own
Hard on
biggest
yourself.
critic.
Absolutely.
I will work my ass off for somebody else
Yeah.
for so many years, but then when it comes to I'm finally my own boss, I'm more lenient with myself
Mm.
than I should be.
Mm.
So I want to hold myself accountable and start doing all those basic things that are really what I should have been doing from the beginning.
Absolutely.
And I can tell you with all honesty, I've implemented them starting this past week when we had a meeting, and, somebody opened my eyes and called me out and said, hey, why can't you do it? It was actually Frank Gonzalez over at New Era. And he's like, you need to be doing this, and we're going to hold you accountable. And we actually, when we meet, we have to have like a pain, I guess, like if we don't do those things.
Absolutely. Rose and thorn.
And, yeah. And some of the people were like, oh, we're going to come dressed down, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I said, you know what? If I don't do this, I'm going to stand up in front of everybody and say I failed. And at first they were kind of like, and I said, look, I'm my own biggest critic.
Yep.
I will rip myself to the bone if I don't do something. And to me, that's like the ultimate punishment, is to stand up in front of even one person and say that I failed, that I didn't do it. So I will say, since I started implementing these things since Monday, man, I've made so much progress already. I talked to a few past clients. One of them might want to buy in the next couple months. One of them wants to buy and sell in like maybe a couple years or so. I know it's down the road, but hey, you gotta keep those contacts
A wise man once told me it's amazing what a human can accomplish in 24 hours.
Yeah, definitely. I have a buyer's consultation set up for tomorrow. I got a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, damn.
How did this happen?
Why have I
Needle
not-
moving activities. Yeah.
In 3 days, I've made more progress than I have, if we're being honest, in like 2 months.
That's awesome.
And so I set up a schedule for myself. So this year, I want to focus on being more consistent, being more intentional with the things that I'm doing.
Love that. You're
So-
preaching my love language, to be honest. So let's first question, have you invited her to the presentation on the 13th?
It was part of this meeting.
Fantastic. I'm inviting you to a presentation on the 13th.
You're taking the one thing that he was going to do.
That was my in conclusion, Bonnie. I would like to invite you to this epic event that we're hosting February 13th.
Where's it at? What's it about?
The Rod Show.
Rod Show?
Right up the road.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing I'm flying in my products manager from Man Mortgage, who's
Rod.
our DBA, iThink Mortgage, is under Man Mortgage. So there are warehouse lines, there are programs, all of that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been with nor have seen another company that has more programs than we do. And we're talking new construction, one-time close, two-time close, manufactured, one-time close, two-time close, text vet, bond loans. We even have our own bond, not bond, but down payment assistance that doesn't have down income limits. The list goes on and on and on. But the issue is most realtors or our spheres don't know about all the programs because it only comes up when the customer that they send talks about it. So we're flying him in to go over, it's basically building your book of business for 2024. Real estate to riches is what we're calling it. And we're going to help go over the top 3 objections that are happening in the market, which number 1, down payment. Number 2, can I renovate this loan? I mean, there's questions that are asked that realtors don't know how to answer just yet because they're not equipped with the right product knowledge. So we want to be able to give you an overview of the product mix and show you when to inject them into the conversations that will help convert those customers quicker.
Yeah.
Versus them staying on the fence because there's still no answers or solutions to whatever it is that prompted the question. Sometimes it's just cracking the door open that allows them to kick it through.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's on the 13th at 11 at NV Title. They were in Vision, but NV Title on Pond 1604. It's that big.
Yeah, it's right by our office.
Silly.
We've gone to a couple trainings.
There you go. Beautiful.
Yeah.
You're up on top looking at the stuff. But the second thing I wanted to ask you is, have you done your 2024 official business plan on paper?
Yes.
Okay.
I have.
Okay. So I was going to offer a coaching session with you to do I do a simple business plan, 1 page, goals, needle moving activities, frequency, projects, deadlines. Super simple, but it's something that you can put on the wall and look at every day, because the number 1 failure with goals is we create them January, February, we've already forgotten about where the hell the paper was. Yeah, we don't go back to look at them. We don't adjust, et cetera, et cetera. When the goal is, let's put it on paper, put frequencies to the amount of needle moving activities, look at it every quarter at minimum, and adjust our frequencies, not the actual activities that we're doing. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, that's good that you got your shit together.
Yeah.
Even more so.
You'll be the first one to say that. I won't even say that. But I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to be more, consistency is the key to my 2024.
I love it.
And of course, I'd love to, help more people.
I love that. So if I were to ask you, what is maybe the one thing that you want people to know about you, your career, and 2024, what would that be? Camera's right there.
Right here?
Yeah.
Well,
It's looking at you, kid.
I'm looking right back at you. You filthy animal.
You filthy animal.
Well, I don't know. I just want people to know, that not necessarily, and I guess the thing about me, and maybe it's something that's good and bad, I would love for everybody to work with me. But as I mentioned, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody gets my sense of humor. Not everybody, values what I bring to the table. So for 2024, personally, I just want, if you want to buy a home, or if you want to sell your home, but you're not really sure like how everything goes, reach out to somebody, get a referral from somebody, Google some people, interview some agents. I know when I work with buyers, I tell them, you don't have to work with me because I'm the first person you met with. Talk to at least 2 other people. I always recommend like 3.
Sure.
Because if you talk to the first 2,
you got to recommend 2 shitty ones, and then somebody that's
and then the ace in the hole, which is myself.
You.
Yeah, I always recommend 3, because if you talk to the first one and you talk to the second one and it sounds pretty similar, then the third one is going to be like, okay, is this person different from them because they're saying the same thing?
Right.
So, and basically, I mean, I kind of got off of your question, right? But
That's okay.
yeah, I just want if you want to buy a house and it's something that like you've been wanting for so long, but you think that maybe you won't qualify, maybe it'll never happen. Or it'll never happen. I'm sorry. Now I spoke like you.
you spoke like I spell.
Yeah. Or maybe it'll never happen. Just talk to somebody, even if it's not me. Talk to an agent that you're gonna know, like, and trust. Of course, like you mentioned, get information and get yourself a house. I mean, I actually never thought that I would be a homeowner, and I was lucky enough to get a home in 2021. I myself, as an agent, had to do some work as well, and I'll tell you that was probably the most stressful transaction I've ever had. I represented myself and my wife, and oh my God, those, I think we closed in like 33 days because something happened, but that was the most stressful time of my life. Representing myself, still working, having to be the home buyer and all that stuff. It was crazy.
Paying the taxes that you owed on the actual Schedule Cs that you're doing. I totally get it. And I think that is something that you should advocate for. But the best way to do it is to tell your story over and over and over and over, because then they relate to it. It's tough for realtors or lenders that have not actually gone through the process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So I would just say that, like, just reach out to someone or reach out to a lender. If you know a lender, I know the common misconception is like, okay, you're going to talk to a realtor, they're going to force you to buy a house, or you're going to have to sign documents. If you speak to a lender, you're going to have to fill out an application. You're going to have to do this and that. If you approach those people and they're making you do those things up front, they're not the one for you. I will tell you straight up, when I meet with buyers for buyer consultations or even listing appointments, I don't take anything that you need to sign with me. I want you to get to know me first. I want you to see what value I can bring to you. And then if you decide that you do want to work with me, and I'll be honest, I really don't get people to sign buyer's rep agreements. I have been burned a few times, I will say, which is fine. It happens, you know, but I would say maybe like 5 out of, all the other people that I've helped have gone with somebody else. And that's fine. Maybe I wasn't for them and that's cool. But I mean, now that I switch brokers, I do have to get it. But before I never would. You know what I mean? Like if they decide that I wasn't what they were looking for, that's fine. Go off somewhere else as long as you get your house. I'm cool with that because ultimately that's my goal.
Yeah.
And it sounds corny or whatever.
It doesn't.
People
It doesn't at all. Nope.
That I'm full of it or whatever, but that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I wasn't for you, I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to force you to be committed to me for who knows how long.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because ideally, if you're buying a house, it could take 2 months, depending on how long it takes you to get the house and if you don't hit any delays. But it could take 6 months.
Yep.
So, I mean, shit, do they want to be stuck with me for 6 months?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I want them to be happy.
You're not in it to make a buck. You are building relationships based on the craft and the trade that you have built the expertise for. And I applaud you for that because it's obvious. There is no lack of confidence in what you're saying. So I'm bought in. I totally get it. Yeah. Cool. Anything else you want to say to the
Y'all keep going. I got to run down some door hangers downstairs.
Okay.
That's it.
Take the stairs. The elevator doesn't.
Okay, well we'll cap it off with that. Boom, boom, boom. That was Bonnet.